Today I'm doing a little ride around Lake Washington. It's gonna be about 40, almost 41 miles. Doing it on the Tout Terrain X29 Explorer, getting ready for backpacking season. Definitely have some new gear to test out, along with ensuring that the seat height and position's good. Got about 250 miles on the bike. Should be a nice ride. It's in the high 40s. It's not supposed to rain. A little clear on the afternoon, so we'll see. And throughout the video, I will probably talk about a few of the upgrades I've done to the bike and the two-terrain, if you're not familiar with it. I've had a two-terrain since 2007, where I had the Silk Road, when you could only buy the frames from two-terrain, and I had a US builder, Peter White Cycles, put together a really nice build. Had that bike for 19 years, and I recently just upgraded. This is a little bit of the Tolt Trail connector. Just to cut over, we have to get down to the trail. It's only about a couple miles from my house, but it's a very nice walking trail that we use quite a bit. All right, here on the left we have Woodinville Whiskey. It's a great spot, especially when you're biking. And on the right up here is the Columbia Chateau Saint Michel and Columbia on the left. So right now this is a way to cut over to the Burt Gilman. In the summer it's pretty busy with tourists and people who are just having fun at the wineries. And right here is the East Trail, which I did a video on, which is the old rail trail. And that's also a great time in the summer. But right now there's quite a bit of construction at some of the overpasses, so you have to take a lot of roundabouts. It's really not a lot of fun. I did it, when was it, January? And it really wasn't a whole lot of fun having to go around all those detours. Up here on the left, we have the Willow's Lodge, which is pretty famous, and the Barking Frog, which is a supposedly pretty nice restaurant. And here we're coming up to the Burt Gilman, where we'll head down towards Kirkland and then across the 520 bridge. During the week, it is a weekday, Monday, afternoon, usually it's a lot quieter just because of the work schedule. But later in the day, there's usually a lot more people. We have 60 Acres Park. Lots of soccer goes on here in the summer. It's definitely pretty busy on weekends. And it's just really nice to see we're already kind of away from the road. We got a bit of a river on the right. It's just it's a pleasant trail between here and Redmond. And here we're starting to get closer to Redmond. Again, it's really pleasant. It actually got too hot. I had to take my jacket off already. Yeah, and here we're getting down to close to downtown Redmond. You see these apartments on the left in this park. Getting really close to the 520 bridge and connector, which will head up towards the Microsoft campus, then over to 520. All right, be crossing over to get to the 520. This used to be my route for years, commuting to work. But I remember a lot of mornings, rainy, cold. And today is one of the good ones for spring. All right, there he goes. My speed days up this hill are over. Unfortunately, it's a pretty loud climb, so apologies for the noise. But again, this is a 520, major thoroughfare through the area. But it's definitely nice to be able to commute this way up the hill. Yeah, and here coming up to Microsoft campus. Spent quite a few years of my life commuting here. It's a great commute, great bike ride, and for 5 years didn't even have a second car because I would commute pretty much every day, including the winter, except for those very few weeks where we had freezing weather. And this whole overpass up here is all new with the cover portion of it. But yeah, I worked right in this area. This is a very cool intersection. If you stop here on the bike lane, not go all the way to the light, you'll actually get a light that allows you to cross completely. All right, now comes the light. We'll see if this pays attention here. They are, so here we go. Now, here we go, heading towards the Kirkland, downtown Bellevue. Bike lane, there's a section here that goes all the way to the 520 bridge. I've just decided I'm gonna play it safe and take the sidewalk from here. Section is that they couldn't really put a separate like bike path here, and you know the intentions are great, but even though it's downhill through a lot of this, going the direction I'm going, it's just not safe. They're going around these curves, so many distracted drivers, and so really at this point I just said I'm better off taking this and being careful going across these business entrances. And I've never, you know, I just slow down. See, look at that right there. The guy just drifted into the bike lane. Even though it's going the other direction. Look at it, see? Again, I just, if I can help it, I stay off of it. That heads us into Seattle. So this will cross Mercer Island. We'll probably stop and take a quick break. Some nice benches there. And then we'll continue. And we get to the 520 bridge. Ooh, it's cool. Ooh-wee. Boy, glad the bike trail doesn't charge a toll bridge. Look at this. Across the bridge at 1:40 in the afternoon, the good to go pass is $4. And that's not even the busy time. Gotta love biking. And you'll start to see the bridge coming up. This is where I usually take a little break, recharge my water bottles. So we'll take a little break here. We'll go ahead and take off now, and we're gonna head around. Oops. there's the turnoff where you cut through the UW campus, get back on the Burt Gilman. This brick one on the left is pretty cool. Yeah. Here on the right, you can see kind of the locked. And coming up is the University of Washington Stadium. Now we're back on the Burt Gilman, heading back towards Woodinville. Jeez, gas prices here in Washington have gotten out of control. Look at that credit, $5.89 a gallon here. It's absolutely highway robbery. Washington. It's absolutely crazy. Murals on the left. Interesting. Alright, so I don't think I have time today, but I love this. This is the Burt Gilman Brewery. I love this sign. $1 off your first pint if you ride in. Well, I'm not really in the mood today, but as it warms up and I do more, I'll definitely be out for it. As much as I love riding over the 520 to make it a loop, it's just much more peaceful through here now. To be fair, like I mentioned, the weekends can get quite a bit busier, but if you can afford to get out during the week, especially in any kind of inclement weather, it's pretty dead. I rode last week, it was raining, and I saw almost literally no one. I mean, it was crazy. It wasn't even that bad. I mean, it was spitting, a little bit of light rain, but that's just Seattle. But again, that was during the week, so if you can get out during the week, I highly recommend it. And down here is Magnuson Park, so just to get a quick view, I will go ahead and jump down in here for a quick cycle. Now, this park's great because they have bathrooms, they have water, well, at least in the summer. A lot of the water fountains right now are shut off for winter, so you do have to watch that. But this is a great little park. In the summer, a lot of times I ride here and home for a quick ride. Trees have a lot of shade, and there's usually, you know, a lot of people out, especially when the weather's nice. But at least I'm not going to stick around here. I'm just going to do a quick roundabout and head on back out. In here you can really start getting a sense of the water line and the homes that are right on the water, but it's better views of later, but it's definitely some nice views as it starts opening up as we get closer to Kenmore. So here's a pretty good view. Coming into Lake Forest Park, so it's still great. This is Log Boom Park. Couldn't see the sign fast enough, but this is up here in Lake Forest Park, closing in on Bothell. It's a nice little park. They do have water and bathrooms here. And in the summer, it's pretty busy. As we come out of that little tunnel, it'd be remiss to point out the 192 Brewing Company up here on the right, which is right off the trail. Always a bonus. On your left. And here, this is downtown Bothell. And the bridge gets you over there. There's shops, eateries. And we're coming up to what's called the Bothell Landing, which is actually where we used to come park and jog this a couple decades ago. But it's definitely a nice area for walking now that they have the bridge to get to businesses. So this is the 405-522 interchange we've been working on for quite some time. I'm just grateful that they didn't close it completely. Sometimes you have to wait for the trucks, but it's a massive bypass expansion, which is great for cars. You know, you look up there, check that out. It's crazy. And just past this is the Wilmot Park, where I usually stop, and I will again now to charge my water bottles for the last climb home up the Widowmaker. Alright, here we're coming into Wilmot Park. It's definitely a good place to stop for water and bathroom if you need it. I have my own water, so I'm just going to pull over and charge my water bottles and then make the final push. Okay, coming up to the baseball fields. Here close to the Woodinville Whiskey and the Columbia Winery is here on the left. And there is water and bathrooms in the building right there off the trail. It's very nice. Okay. We're coming up on, this makes the full route on the trail. So while I still have to get home, there are some bathrooms over there. And it's water here that are not turned on this time of year, but this summer they are. So that makes the full route around the lake. And as you can see, other than the one minor area where I take the sidewalk, it's a great path. And for me, I still have to go another few miles to get home up that hill, which is what I call the Widowmaker. It's the hill right behind Woodinville Whiskey. And so I took a break and stretched the legs out, and so I've ridden this many times. This is the way I have to get home every time. So this hill is actually one of the named hills in the 7 Hills of Kirkland ride, which is what a lot of people consider a training ride for the Seattle to Portland, or the STP. So when I rode the STP in 2010-11, in those years when I rode it, I definitely did the 7 Hills of Kirkland ride. It's a 7,200 feet of climbing and doing the 100-mile route. Don't know how it's changed over the years, but that was when I was much younger. Whew. Okay. just riding the tire pressure a little differently. I like to switch to tubeless. So with the tubeless setup, when I use the calculator on these Vittoria Mezcals, it said that for fully loaded, for my weight plus bike plus gear, I should be running about 31 in the front and 33 in the back. So I am running that now mainly because I know I'm on pavement and to get a little bit more, you know, maybe some better rolling resistance. So since I'm new to tubeless, it will be very interesting to see what when I get everything loaded on with full weight, whether or not is a recommended tire pressure, maybe for roads, and then play around with the pressure on the gravel. Ooh. All right, that was a great ride. We're finishing up right at about 39, 40 miles. Around the lake is awesome. So if you haven't ridden it or you haven't ridden it a long time, that's basically how you can get around the entire lake without almost getting off of a formal bike path. So hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.